Hey guys, it's Kara from iStampin.com. Thanks for joining me on another Create a Card Monday. Today's card is a really pretty Christmas card, and I'm going to be using the Circle of Spring stamp set. This is in our annual catalog, and it's a really pretty stamp set. I think you're going to enjoy this technique. I'm going to be using our blender pen and doing some coloring with stamps. With our ink pads. Now I'm also going to be using the stamp set from November's Paper Pumpkin Kit, Mistletoe and Holly. This is a wonderful stamp set to be able to use the small sentiments in smaller places. So if you have never taken a look at Paper Pumpkin, give it a try. These stamp sets are fabulous. You can use these. They don't have to be used just with the kit. I love to use my Paper Pumpkin stamps on lots of different types of projects. And they're exclusive to the kit, so that's the only way to get them. And just to let you know that if you are a Paper Pumpkin subscriber of mine, starting this month, or actually I started it last month, so for the November kit, all of my Paper Pumpkin subscribers received 8 to 10 extra exclusive projects. So not only are you getting projects with the kit, but that I'm giving you up to 10 different ideas on how to reuse your stamp set. So that's a great feature, and I'll link that below on those details. But what we're making today is a Christmas card. So what we're going to start out with is a piece of Mossy Meadow that measures 8 by 4. We're making a 4 by 4 card. And so I've just scored that in half at 4 inches. And then I have cut a piece of the shimmery white cardstock, just a 1/4 inch smaller. So this measures 3 3/4 by 3 3/4. And what we're going to do is we are going to stamp on this card first. And I am using our archival basic black ink because I'm going to be doing some coloring, so I want to make sure that my ink doesn't bleed. And I have placed the wreath stamp on one of my blocks, so I'm just going to ink this up. And then I am just going to stamp this right in the center of the panel. Okay, now what I'm going to do is take this panel over to my Big Shot, and I am using our wonderful wreath framelits. This framelits coordinate with this stamp set, and I'm just going to be using the center piece right here, and I'm just going to be cutting out that part of the card. So let me go do that real quick, and I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. Okay, so that's what it looks like afterwards. I've just cut out that center piece. And so what we're going to do here is I'm going to bring the card base back in, and I'm just going to place this right on top of the card, and I want to get it centered, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to stamp the sentiment right there in the center of the wreath. And I'm going to do it tone on tone, so I've got my Mossy Meadow ink out, and I am using the Happy Holidays. This stamp, like I said, is from the Mistletoe and Holly Paper Pumpkin Kit that came out last month. So I've just got this inked up. I'm just going to come right here, and let's see, we may need to rotate this. Let's see. Okay, so I'm just going to stamp. Okay, so that fits right in there. Like that. Okay, now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use my blender pen and do some coloring. So I what I've done is I've closed my stamp pad, and I've just pressed the ink to the lid, and that gives me a little palette to be able to pick up ink. So just do that on both colors. Let me do that a little bit more. So you just squeeze it. You don't need a whole lot. There we go. And so what I'm doing is I'm using our blender pen. And if you have these and have used them, you know, you see that the tip is stained. So what I like to do is just, you know, rub it on my scratch paper. And then once I see that all the color has, that I've marked all the color off, even though it's stained, it still is going to be perfect. Okay, so what I like to do is just pick up a little bit of ink and then just color the flowers. So you don't want to color too hard because the paper will pill. So you just want to do a very light touch. Okay, so once you have all those done, then just, like I said, just wipe the blender pen on your scratch paper until it's clear. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick up the Mossy Meadow and I'm going to go ahead and color in all the leaves and just do the exact same technique. And then once you're done with the leaves, you can do the exact same thing where you can come back in and make some of them a little bit more intense, give them some dimension. Okay, and then just wipe that off. And I'm going to pick up a little bit more red. I see where I forgot to color something. And then what I'm going to do with the center of these white flowers, I'm going to leave those white, and I am going to grab crushed curry and just color in the centers of these flowers. Okay. So it's going to look like that. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see a little bit better. Okay, so we're done with that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use dimensionals and I'm going to pop this up. And what I like to do is put quite a few dimensionals around where I've cut out the center part of the cardstock. This just allows it to stay secure and not kind of sag in that part of the card. And then I can just come in and just put dimensionals just on the four corners. Okay, and then just remove the backing. Okay, and then you're going to come back in and just center this onto the front of the card with your sentiments showing. And now I'm just going to use our basic jewel pearls, or basic pearls, and I'm just using the little tiny ones. And I'm just going to put them around the wreath randomly, just to kind of give it a little bit of sparkle. Oops, where'd that one go? Let's see, one over here. So I think I need to move this one. Right there, so okay, and then the last thing I'm doing is I'm using our cherry cobbler thick baker's twine, and I'm just going to cut some off and then make a bow, and then I'll use a glue dot to attach that to the card. And if you like projects like this, I'd love for you to join my Stampin' Club. What that is that's a virtual host club. So I have 6 members in each group, and one person is able to be the host once a month. And then it rotates amongst the members in the group. So I've got one starting in January. I'm just looking for a couple of more members. So if that's something that you are interested in doing, I'll have the information linked in the notes on this video, as well as my blog. And you can always go over to my blog, which is istampin.com. And at the top, you'll see something that says the Stampin' Club, and there you can find out all the information. Okay, so I just used a couple of glue dots to attach the bow. So there's the card, and then I want to show you the envelope that I made to go with this. Since this is a 4x4 card, I used our envelope punch board to create a custom envelope. So let me show that to you real quick. So I used our Merry Moments Designer Series paper and our envelope punch board, and I cut the Designer Series paper 6 by 7/8 by 6 by 7/8, and then I just followed the directions on the envelope punch board to create this custom envelope. So I used the double-sided paper so you can see it's a nice little lined envelope. And just how cute is that? I know the trees should be going this way, but I did it quickly. But y'all get the idea. But just a fun Christmas card that you can use with a stamp set that's meant for the spring, and I just think that it's adorable. So I hope y'all liked today's card, and if you did, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, hop on over to istampin.com and subscribe over there too, so that you can stay up to date on all the latest happenings that I have going on. All right, guys, have a wonderful day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.